I'm delighted to introduce to you a retailer who many of you will be familiar with. So Joe Connolly, General Manager, and Rob Harris, Marketing Manager from Stakelums.ie. Stakelums came to Magico in May 2020 when they were considering an upgrade to their existing online store. They're a great team of really ambitious online retailers who are seeing very impressive results online. And today they're going to share some of that journey with us. So hi guys.
Hi Orla.
Hi Orla.
How are you doing? Hey Joe, how's it going? Hi Rob. So we've got a picture for Joe, but Rob, you're there too. Great. Thanks for joining us, guys. So as we did last week, I think, you know, the theory is one thing, but I think it's really important for retailers to hear the warts and all version of what it's like and what it really means for the business to invest in online and to take the online as a real serious element of your business. So can you talk to us maybe about the importance of the online channel for your business and what it has meant for you in terms of maybe some of the changes over the last 12 or 18 months?
Yeah, I suppose I'll take this one first, Rob. For us, we always had a website for the last 8, 9, 10 years. Started out as a static brochure website at first for a few years, and then we switched to a kind of an e-commerce website, but it wasn't integrated to our own EPOS system, which caused difficulties with stock levels and so forth. The catalyst then was COVID in terms of relaunch and replatforming. It was a bit of a, I suppose, I won't say a gamble, but we weren't sure. We had no real proven success with the old website, so we were a little bit apprehensive to the point that we now have 3.5 members of staff, a new van, and planning permission gone in for a shed based on the success of the website. And that's in the last 12 months really that it was replatformed or relaunched. I suppose one of the key things for us was to really address it seriously and get buy-in from the top down, starting with John and Pat Stakelum themselves, but then from the senior management and getting a number of key stakeholders involved weekly. And I suppose from there, it's kind of, it's snowballed. Like what we would have done online in 2019, we're now doing probably more than that every month. So like we're still scratching at the surface in terms of, it can be sometimes frustrating because we want to get more and more done, but when you're serious about it and you want to get the consistencies right, you want it the right first time. So, you know, getting the product catalog right is vital. One thing I would say, I suppose, you've got the elements that you spoke about in terms of Celebros, you know, intelligent search, live chat. There's a couple of features that we have embraced and turned on, as you know, but there's more that we want, but we're not going to do that until we're ready to do it and embrace it properly and do it properly. But like, it's just been a massive success. We had one funny incident insofar as we built an office for the e-commerce team in our store and annexed a little bit of the store for a fulfillment area prior to launching. And some of the staff were looking at us like going, what are you at? Like, this is kind of pie in the sky. Now it's, you know, it's a busy hub. So look, I think that the key takeaway I could give is choosing the right platform and the right partner, because you can go to certain companies, they'll build a website, and to an extent that's as much as they'll do. But for us to be part of the community that shares, whether it's the same industry or otherwise, like, you know, it's vital to be learning from everybody else. So I think the right platform, the right partner is half the battle. Yeah, great, like some great takeaways there. And even this year, I think even this year is kind of taking me, you know, has shocked you as well, you know, and we're into kind of the second year of COVID, you know, but even some of the online revenue targets that you had set for earlier on this year, you're now exceeding those again, Joe, which is great. So that foundation and building on that, it's continuing to reap rewards, which is brilliant. So I know we were talking earlier, and I made reference to it about buying, you know, and using the online store and how that influences the buying decision, and making sure that the online strategy is part of that then as well. Has it made you buy differently? Have you bought deeper to service maybe online demand, or has that
has it brought any differences to your buying strategies?
It has, like, again, if we look at the seasonality of it, the Christmas in particular, this year we've bought maybe, I think, 3 times more than we would have had in previous years. Now, whether we get it all is another thing with the supply constraints, but when you look at spring, summer 22, like, you know, like we've probably ordered 4 times more stock, to the point that we would have always taken, you know, containers via suppliers, or, you know, but now we're actually importing them ourselves directly.
Right.
You know, so and that's putting the pinch on the logistics side of things, hence the new shed. But definitely when we're buying now, we're buying with an eye to the website, and an eye with a larger catchment area, or a larger market as such.
Yeah, and it's something I mentioned during the presentation, and it's something that I would say, for, you know, when we look at our retailers and the retailers that are successful and the ones that see very that strong growth, they are, what you do there is, you know, you online drives the business decisions internally as well, and that online isn't an afterthought. And I think that's really important. You know, there's lots that you're doing there in terms of the online store, you know, you know, and it'd be great if you could give us a little insight into some of that, you know, things that you're doing around, you know, the graphics, you know, how you manage your categorization, the expansion of your team, and maybe some of the day-to-day or the weekly events that are happening within the organization, you know, the things that you're doing on an ongoing basis to show people maybe how you focus on the online strategy as well. Yeah,
well, I suppose I'll let Robert take this, because we're lucky enough that Robert, as part of his brief, happens to have a very good skill set in graphic design, which means that a lot of the look and feel and shape and tone is coming from Robert's lead. So, Rob.
Yeah, it's hi everyone. It's been a great experience just in the last year and a half, working with Stakelums to kind of get where we are today. And with the platform that we have at the moment, it offers us the ability to refresh the look and feel of it. Like you touched on before, categorization was a huge part of our website with so many departments. So taking time to actually talk with people on the ground, storyboard it out, write it up on a blackboard, really identify all the key areas that we wanted to focus on. A lot of those areas that we hadn't ever focused on before online, in terms of maybe the trade counter or paint, which is really adds to our kind of offering online. And I think Magico, or the platform, really allows us to do that with ease. And you can see the results, like you say, you can see where people are clicking, you can see the categories that maybe aren't performing as well as others and maybe need a bit more attention in terms of marketing spend behind them.
Great. And I know you're very good at kind of weekly meetings, daily meetings in there, kind of planning, forecasting. You keep a very close eye on that as well, don't you?
Yeah, and even in terms of just getting back to the office, you know, I've been working remotely for over a year, but I've slowly been getting back to the office a couple of days a week. But even with the challenges that were thrown up by COVID, we were still able to manage on a daily kind of meeting over the phone or by Zoom to catch up with each other, plan in advance. It's I suppose it's really important to have your calendar worked out in terms of the key kind of the peak times that people would be online. Black Friday and Christmas are huge for us and will continue to be so online into the future.
And I see Trustpilot is going quite well there as well. So watching that in your customer service is important. And you spoke to me yesterday when we were chatting, Robert, about I suppose the pride that you and the team take then in keeping that good rating, and how that keeps everyone on their toes, and you know, you want to really stick with that.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to be, you know, aiming and breaking your targets, and we have been doing that. And the team, which is a very small team, have been absolutely incredible in fulfilling orders, you know, answering customer queries. The communication has been excellent, and Trustpilot just allows us to reflect that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it speaks volumes then, you know. And I think that's a really good point as well, Joe. You know, you have seen great growth. You've seen, you know, great advancement in your online journey, but you're still, okay, we need to do things right. You're not racing to activate all these different features. And I think that's really good advice, just to activate the feature, but optimize it and work on it. Make sure that you're optimizing your search. If you're going to invest and go down the road, optimize it, make sure it's working. Same with Trustpilot. Switching it on is one thing, but you need to have a strategy around it, you know. So is somebody who's going to be responsible to respond to any negative comment? Because they will come, and that's very important to respond to those. And, you know, what's your strategy about responding to other positive comments? What's your engagement strategy on it, you know?
The likes of Trustpilot, like we're only 4 or 5 weeks with that launched. We were canvassing for Google reviews, and we've done quite well with Google reviews as well, but not everybody has a Gmail account or a Google account to actually leave a review. Trustpilot affords people the opportunity who've shopped with us to have an automated request for a review. It's been pretty positive. Like I was away last night in Cavan, and I see a review coming in, and a lady is commending in her words, our miracle employees. You know, that's going to boost you anytime. And then when you feed that back to the team, Rob is right. Look, it gets everybody. It's a small team on the fulfillment side and customer service side, but obviously it's a big team on the shop floor doing the hard work. But everybody kind of gets a buy-in because, you know, they've created that good review or whatever the case is. But I think, look, we have Robert is responsible for all engagement when it comes to Trustpilot. So we're looking for 100% engagement, regardless whether it's a positive review or whether it's a negative review.
Yeah, great. You know, well done. Again, brilliant.
We talk every week, and that's the thing. It's getting the stakeholders around. Like I know you've used the phrase in the past, and it's from the Kevin Costner film. Like, if you build it, they will come. No, they won't. It's one thing building the website, but you need to staff it and resource it like another department and consider it as a revenue stream. And like, look, yes, we get purchases on our website by local people for click and collect or even for delivery. But the majority of what we would be selling would be around the country, probably outside our immediate catchment area. And what we're getting, and I suppose from a revenue point of view, you're talking about optimizing to get over the million or whatever the case is. You have to bear in mind that everything that you're doing online is also going to reciprocate in store. It's the offline part, and attribution to that is a lot harder. The only attribution you can kind of get is when somebody makes it clear to the salesperson that they have already been on our site or they saw it on the website or whatever the case is. And we're getting lead inquiries from people looking for, you know, be it an electric fire or whatever the case is, stove from around the country. So it may not, you know, go through the actual basket on the online side of it, but it's coming to us via remotely by secure payment or by in store, people coming to the shop as a destination. You know, that's I won't say it's immeasurable, but it's harder to attribute. But it's a certain part of the benefit of a really good website and a good team behind it.
Yeah, it's very much works in tandem, doesn't it? And
Absolutely.
So many retailers going online, or so many customers now being online. Talk to me about the importance and maybe the benefit of having the online channel during the last 18 months and the COVID restrictions. So, you know, obviously footfall was down. What did it mean for you being able to maybe sell online? What impacts did that have? So, you know, what benefits did it bring?
Well, I suppose, again, we're multi-departments, so some of our departments would have been deemed as non-essential. And then obviously the essential part of the business was allowed to trade, restricted or otherwise. But the website, I suppose, look, wave one, we didn't have the proper re-platform done, and that was a real eye-opener to see what the old website was capable of doing, just simply because people were forced to it. And once we launched in October with yourselves, like, it just maximized wave two lockdown, where Christmas you weren't meant to have footfall in the shop. We had stock there. We didn't merchandise it properly because people weren't allowed in to look at it, but they were allowed in to buy other essential goods or click and collect. But majority of our Christmas stock last year was shipped because of the website. We would have been carrying stock into this year if not. But we were out the gap by the first week of December. We had very little left.
Which is great, yeah. And back
Absolutely.
to that point about flexibility and being able to just to move revenues online. It was great bonus. Great. And I suppose, Joe, I think what Robert and the team, they're doing great things there as well. It's important to have somebody like yourself who has knowledge across the entire business, very involved in the online process as well, or having that kind of helicopter view of it and not just two isolated teams of online team and bricks and mortar storage. I think that's important as well.
Yeah, it's vital. Again, look, it allows decisions to be made easier. There's, you know, like we've had team leaders or department heads kind of canvassing to get their product or their range up in the site, and we have to discuss, debate, and decide whether or not it's the right thing for us straight away. We'll eventually get there, but it's about, you know, what's being looked for. As you say, you refer to the data. Even if you don't have a section or a brand up, you'll know from your intelligent search results whether or not their people are looking for it. And if they are and you don't have it, well, then there's an opportunity, and that'll prioritize what we decide to put up next. But to have somebody kind of maybe help make those decisions makes it, I assume, easier for the likes of Rob and the lads to you know, get direction. But it's important to have a strategy around where you want to go and what your goals are. Like we decided, you know, Christmas was the first department along with our electrical offering. And look, call a spade a spade. Our site at the moment is pretty much aimed at the B2C. We haven't really looked at the B2B side of things yet. And again, that's where, you know, we'll give it really good consideration and decide whether it's for us or not. But, you know, there's elements of the trade that can still be put online from a B2C point of view.
Great. And like the sophistication of the customer, have you seen that change now over the past 18 months in terms of what they're looking for, how you're engaging with them? Because I suppose looking from the outside in at what you're doing, I would definitely say that you're quite sophisticated in how you're engaging with the customer, and you know, be that from your paid digital marketing activities right through to how you re-engage with the customer. And some of the functionality that you've enabled on the site, like the flexible payment providers, you know, you seem to understand that the customer is now ready to make that big ticket purchase online, so you're enabling them to do that.
Yeah, I suppose it's about removing the barriers to purchase. So the buy now, pay later integration is great. It also leads again to conversions in store. I suppose again, Robert is very, very hands-on when it comes to retargeting and remarketing, be it that on social or helping with the paid search. And we do use a third-party digital agency to help us with the paid search, because again, it's a skill set that all of us admit we don't have, and if you're doing it right, it needs to be focused on. Again, that's a bit of a learning curve for us. We're not even 12 months in with the digital marketing crowd, but we're seeing results. I think Robert had a stat the other day where 60% of our traffic in a period a month or two ago was acquired by paid. So even though you're doing a lot on email marketing or your digital, or whether it's organic and Google ranks you right, like 60% of the traffic is still a huge amount. And then, you know, get your conversion rate, look at your average order value. You can see, you know, what you're potentially missing if you're not engaging with that side of it as well.
Yeah, and I know you've invested quite a bit then as well in your email marketing strategy. So you're thinking about all that entire journey. You know, if you're paying that much to acquire, or if you're quite a high percentage of customers coming through that paid marketing campaigns, you want to do all you can then to mine the long-term value of that customer, and that's something that's a priority for you as well with your email marketing strategy. Isn't that right? You've invested in that too. Yeah,
again, Robert will take that now because he's quite proactive on it.
Yeah, so we engaged with a third-party consultant to design kind of custom templates because the kind of out-of-the-box design wasn't really working for us. Whereas now we have a mobile-first kind of design that it'll be dynamic and will shift to kind of different platforms that you're on. We also are integrating with a third-party blogging software, so we're looking to add content that brings value to the customer, not only just on price and range, but also informative as well.
Great. So all great examples of how you're not just thinking about the product catalog, you're thinking of all of the other elements of it, and how it really is that holistic approach and has to be strategic and has to be planned, and the communications of it to do it well. So, which I think is a very fair representation. You know, don't want to scare anyone off, but work goes into getting this right. Would that be fair, Joe?
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, it can be daunting, but look, I'm a board member of the HAI. Anybody who wants to ever pick up the phone or email me, I give them some snippets. If we can be of help to anyone, we will. But it's a chunk of work. But as I said, if you resource it right and get a proper buy-in, those small wins become quite frequent, and it really does, you know, it's nice to be, you know, getting your emails and seeing what transactions went on at 2 o'clock in the morning, because they're coming in at that time, like you're kind of going off night shift or whatever. I don't know what it is, but you're starting the day with a picking list for fulfillment, like.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, you see the revenues coming in. It's great. Great, Joe and Rob. That's been great.